Alcohols are organic compounds in which the hydroxyl functional group, which is the OH group, is bound to a carbon atom. It is an important class of molecules with many scientific, medical, and industrial uses. An aliphatic alcohol has a general formula CnH2n plus 2O or ROH, where R is the alkyl group. Generally, an alcohol has a OH group attached to the sp3 hybridized carbon. For the aromatic alcohol, the OH group is directly attached to the benzene ring. Alcohols are classified as primary, secondary, or tertiary based upon the number of alkyl groups connected to the carbon atoms that bears the OH group. For example, if you have only one alkyl group attached to the carbon that bears the OH group, then it is a primary alcohol. If there are two alkyl groups attached to the carbon that bears the OH group, it is a secondary alcohol. And if we have three alkyl groups attached to the carbon that bears the OH group, it is a tertiary alcohol. Let's do some example. Okay, for the first structure here, okay, so we have an OH group attached to this carbon. Okay, let's label it. Okay, so this carbon that bears the OH group, since it has two alkyl group attached to it, okay, ataupun lagi senang kalau you just tengok berapa banyak carbon yang duduk dekat sebelah dia. Okay, so since kat sini we have two carbon next to it, so it is a secondary alcohol. And for the next structure, okay, kalau you tengok dekat sini, okay, dia lukis dalam bentuk condensed. Okay, so since here we have two alkyl group, okay, kalau you tak nampak, you can open the structure. Okay, so let's try open the structure. So on this carbon, we have two CH3 group attached to it. Okay, and then here we have one OH, and then next to it we have CH2, CH3. Okay, kalau kita open the structure, baru kita nampak dengan jelas. Okay, so this is the carbon that bearing the OH group. Alright, so since it has three carbon next to it, okay, means that there ada tiga alkyl group attached to it. So it is a tertiary alcohol. Alright, so we have a tertiary alcohol here. And then C, okay, so for C, it is not an aromatic alcohol, okay, because the OH group does not directly attach to the benzene ring. So sebenarnya, this one is an aliphatic alcohol. Alright, so since this carbon that attached to the OH group, okay, dekat sebelah dia, next to it, we have only one carbon, so means that dia hanya ada satu alkyl group. Okay, so for this one, it is a primary alcohol. And last but not least, this one is also not an aromatic alcohol sebab ni bukan aromatic ring. Ini bukan benzene sebab dia tak ada double bond and single bond alternate to each other. Dia cyclohexyl sahaja. Okay, so this carbon is attached to the OH group. Okay, so since it has two carbon next to it, ada dua saja carbon next to it, so then it is a secondary alcohol. To name an alcohol, we are going to follow these three steps. The first one is we have to find the longest carbon chain that contains the OH group. And next, give the OH group the lowest number as possible. Then, we are going to change the suffix E in the alkane parent name into ol. The IUPAC name for alcohol with one carbon is methanol and two carbon alcohol is ethanol. But if we have three carbon, okay, so like this, alright, so since we have three carbons longest chain, the position of the OH group is near to the right end, so we are going to number it from right to left, okay, and then we have to give the position of the OH group, okay, we have to state the position of the OH group in its IUPAC name, so it will become 1-propanol. And for this structure, okay, so this is our longest carbon chain, okay, and then since the position of the OH group is the same from the both ends, so tak kisah you want to number it from left to right or right to left, so let's say I'll number it from left to right. Okay, so now the position of the OH group is on the second carbon, so the name will become 2-propanol. Next, we have this carbon longest chain. Okay, so tak kisah daripada kiri ke kanan ataupun bawah ke kanan ni. Okay, sebab dia punya bilangan carbon sama sahaja. Okay, and then this is our OH group since it is near to the left end. So kita akan nomborkan from left to right. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then since it only has one substituent attached to the second carbon. Okay, so the IUPAC name for this structure is 2-methyl-2-butanol since the methyl is on the second carbon and also 2-butanol because the OH group is attached to the second carbon as well. Okay, so for the last example here, okay, so this is our carbon longest chain. So tak kisah juga. So this one or this one sama sahaja. Okay, so since this is our OH group, it is near to the right end. So we are going to number it from right to left. Okay, 3, 4, 5, 6, and also here we can see we only has one methyl group attached to the fifth carbon. So the IUPAC name for this structure is going to be 5-methyl-3-hexanol because the position of the methyl on the fifth carbon and longest carbon chain is 6 and the position of the OH group is on the third carbon. For cyclic alcohol, the numbering will start at the carbon that attached to the OH group, but we are going to omit this number in the name. Okay, so since here we have the OH group, okay, so this one is going to be our first carbon since tak ada substituent langsung dekat dia. So the name will become cyclohexanol. Okay, for the second structure here, okay, so we have the OH group attached to this carbon. So this carbon will become our first carbon. Okay, so since daripada kita nak buat clockwise atau anti-clockwise, the position of the substituent here, we have a methyl substituent. Sama saja position dia. Okay, so suka hatilah nak nomborkan clockwise atau anti-clockwise. Dia tetap duduk pada carbon number 4. Okay, so the IUPAC name for this structure. And for the last example here, this is our OH group. So this carbon that attached to it will become our first carbon. Okay, so since the first substituent, kita akan jumpa paling dekat. Okay, kalau kita nomborkan dia secara clockwise macam ni. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So kita kena nomborkan macam ni lah. Okay, so since we have here ethyl and chloro. Okay, so alphabetically, chloro comes first before ethyl, C datang dulu baru E. Okay, so as a single word kita akan namakan chloro dulu. Okay, so we have 4-chloro, 3-ethyl cyclohexanol. Okay, so dalam kes ni kita tak gunakan alphabetically order because kena ingat we have to give our substituents the lowest set of number as possible. Okay, so kalau kita nomborkan macam ni, kita punya substituent pada nombor 3 dan 4. Tapi kalau you nomborkan anti-clockwise macam ni, dia akan jatuh pada carbon nombor 4 dan 5. So 3 dengan 4 lagi rendah. So that's why kita nomborkan dia ikut clockwise. From this table, we can see that alcohol has higher priority than amines, alkenes, and halide. If a higher priority group is present, such as an aldehyde, ketone, ester, or carboxylic acid, the alcohol will become a substituent, and then we have to use the prefix hydroxy instead of the ending "ol". Let's have a look at this example. So, we have two functional group present, which is the OH group and the carbon-carbon double bond. So since the alcohol, the OH group here has higher priority, so it will become our parent. Okay, so this is our longest carbon chain, and then to number the carbon, so we have to give the OH group the lowest number, so it will become 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so since we have a carbon-carbon double bond on carbon number 2 and 3, okay, so we will give its lowest number 2. Okay, and then the longest carbon chain is 5 carbon, so it will become pent. Okay, so since here it is a double bond, so the double bond is placed on the second carbon, so kita akan letakkan En instead of An. Okay, sebab En ni we have a carbon-carbon double bond. Okay, number 2, because it is placed on the second and third carbon. Okay, so we have 2 pentane. Okay, and then the position of the OH group is on the first carbon. Okay, so 1, all. Okay, so we have to put the ending all here because it is an alcohol. Okay, kita kena bagi dia sebagai our parent name. Okay, sebab dia punya priority lagi tinggi daripada our carbon-carbon double bond. Okay, so same goes to this one. Okay, so since we have the OH group, this carbon will become our first carbon, and then the carbon-carbon double bond. Okay, kat sini 5, 6. Okay, so the position of the carbon-carbon double bond is on the second carbon. So sama juga macam tadi, 2. And then we have a cyclic compound. So dia akan jadi cyclo hex sebab ada 6 carbon. En sebab ada double bond. Okay, so maksudnya dekat sini the double bond is placed on the second carbon, and then here kita kena nomborkan the position of our OH group. So dia akan jadi 1 all. If there are 2 OH group present, the suffix will become diol. Okay, so dia punya name, okay, dia akan jadi alkane diol. Okay, so dekat sini, so we have 2 carbon. Okay, so since the position of the OH group is on the different carbon, so kita kena nomborkan dia lah. So we have 1, 2. Okay, so it will become 1, 2 ethane diol. So ingat dia akan jadi alkane diol. Ada E tau, bukan tak ada E, dia ada E kat sini. Okay, so the next structure, ini pula kalau the 2 OH group attached to the cyclic compound. Okay, kita ada 2 OH group pada cyclic. Alright, so kita nomborkan dia. So since dia duduk sebelah-sebelah, so tak kisah siapa nombor 1. Okay, alright, so let's say I number it like this. Okay, so untuk cyclic alcohol pula, kalau ada 2 OH group, dia akan jadi cycloalkane diol. Okay, so sama je kalau open chain, dia akan jadi alkane diol. Kalau cyclic, dia akan jadi cycloalkane diol. So the name for this compound is 1,2-cyclopentane diol. Okay, so untuk this compound pula, okay, so since the OH group is attached to the open chain, dia bukan attached pada kita punya benzene, so dia bukan phenol. Okay, so this is the longest carbon chain, and then the position of the OH group yang paling dekatnya adalah dekat this carbon. So this carbon will become our first carbon, second, third, 4th, 5th and 6th. Okay, so kita ada 2 substituent. Okay, di mana when the benzene becomes substituent, kita dah belajar dalam chapter 6. Okay, nama dia adalah phenyl. Okay, so chlorine jadi substituent, we have a chloro. Okay, so as a single word, okay, kita kena ikut alphabetically lah nak letak the substituent. Okay, so C comes first before P. So the name of this compound will be 4-chloro 1-phenyl 1,5-hexane diol.